line, and the animal broke through and fell through. 2 fire crews helped rescue the Dartmoor pony. On the first attempt, he was nearly out of the shaft when the rope snapped, sending him careering down to the bottom again. But firemen persevered, re-hitched a cradle around him and hauled him out. His delighted owner now faces a bill of £1,000 for the help of the fire crews. But with Jaffa safe and well, and with only a cut above his right eye to show for his adventure, she says it was well worth it.
Jaffa Orange only lived because he fell backwards. The hole was narrow, his rear end big, and that cushioned the fall as he gradually wedged further and further down. Kate Jackson was at the scene for the rescue.
Their faces said it all. Stricken to think Jaffa had been trapped for more than 24 hours and unlikely to survive. In a desperate bid, owners called the fire brigade in a last-ditch attempt to get him out. They were lowered down to attach the winching gear to the horse's belly. Crews could only watch and wait for the signal Jaffa was safe and on his way up. Finally, he appeared. Breaths were held until he started to move, and then relief kicked in.
Shocked really, because I couldn't believe that he's all right. How can a horse fall down a 100-foot mine shaft twice and survive it? I just can't believe it. I thought I just have to get the vet and get him put down.
For his owners though, it's a double blessing. They've saved him once before when they bought him from a moor market 10 years ago. He was a 6-month-old foal, unwanted and due to be sold for meat. But they hand-reared him and say now he's the best, if not the luckiest, horse alive. Kate Jackson for West Country Live.
Wet weather rescue. Why a horse ended up down this small hole and how after hours of work these firefighters ensured a happy ending. 60 feet into a disused mine shaft. Robert Wallace has been watching one of this year's more unusual rescues.
More on the horse, less on Stu. Keep the horse going, rest on Stuart a minute. Keep the horse going. There's the animal.
More than a dozen firefighters were involved in the operation, which began at around 9 o'clock this morning.
Do a bit now. Come on, let's keep the horse going. Less on Stuart now. Keep it going. Get Stuart up. Get Stuart up.
It always promised to be a long and delicate rescue, but after several hours, the hard work and patience of the crews from Camborne was finally rewarded.
Keep it going, keep it going. Come on. He'll take it out, he'll take it out. Come on. Steady, steady, Jaffa. Steady, Jaffa. Keep it going. Steady, Jaffa. Steady, Jaffa. Here you are, my dude. Steady, Jaffa. Here you are. Steady, Jaffa. Let's get this back out the way, this turfer.
Jaffa, unsettled but unscathed by the experience, with no broken bones.
I just can't believe that he survived it. When I saw the mine shaft, I thought he was dead. I thought he must be dead, and we just had to find out if he's still alive to put him down. I thought he'd be injured or dead, but he's all right.
Well, you always feel pleased when you have a happy outcome. Even that, sometimes after you rescue an animal, you know, and the vet checks them over, you know, sometimes broken bones, but touch wood, this one looks like it is a happy ending.
He was lucky.
He was very lucky.
He certainly was very lucky. Always like a happy ending, don't you, Craig? I've never seen anything quite like that. It was absolutely amazing. The hole just didn't look big enough for him to come to. Amazing.
Some of the most distressing situations involve animals that go missing and lie injured and undetected for hours, even days. One of those stories happened in 1997, here in this field, an extraordinary rescue filmed by a local news team. Jaffa the pony here escaped death not once, but twice in one day. This is his remarkable story.
Veritee Reed Hall had saved Jaffa's life once already. She'd paid £20 for him at a meat market. Since then, he'd become part of the family.
You're going to help wash him?
Jaffa has taught like 2 generations of children in this village to ride. And that everybody thinks Jaffa's wonderful.
You're going to come follow me?
Then, one day, he simply disappeared.
When I came out here,
The horses were just standing around grazing as they usually do, except for Jaffa. He wasn't anywhere to be seen. We did phone the police, we did make sure he wasn't stolen, but there was no Jaffa. Jaffa! Jaffa!
Despite frantic searches for most of the day, by nightfall there was still no sign of Jaffa. This part of Cornwall is littered with disused mine shafts, and what Veritee didn't know was that the ground she walked on had literally swallowed Jaffa up.
We were walking across and my dog jumped over something.
Jaffa!
What's that? We all turned and there's a great hole. I said, that's it, it's down a hole, it's a shaft. We couldn't see the bottom, we couldn't see anything. So we just thought that he'd fallen down and broken his neck or something, he was dead.
Unable to mount a rescue in the night, Cornwall Fire Services sent Division Officer John Warren to assess the situation the following day.
I shone a torch down and I was mesmerised because I could actually see the horse stood up and he was looking up at me. And his eyes were shining in the torch beam and I just couldn't believe it.
He was convinced he was fine, but I didn't really believe him because he could be sort of all his legs broken with his looking up. I mean, how can you tell a horse is fine? But he was convinced, so we decided to go ahead and try and rescue him.
Once they'd assembled their rescue winch, the fire crew knew they'd have to secure a sling around Jaffa in order to get him up. Fire Officer Stuart Whitworth was lowered 100 feet down the shaft to find out if Jaffa really was unhurt.
Well, I couldn't believe it when I got down to the bottom. The horse was, just stood on all fours and it appeared to have no injuries at all. It just looked absolutely perfect.
Now up! Right, up!
With the sling attached, the long, difficult process of hauling Jaffa to the surface began. With firefighters, Veritee and other villagers all working together, there was ample pulling power. But the ropes were becoming twisted and friction was beginning to fray the hessian until, with feet to go, they snapped.
Keep it going!
Everything was going smoothly, and we got from about 20 feet to the top of the shaft.
Right, okay, Jaffa.
And I heard this almighty bang.
Let's stand back.
My heart just dropped. I mean, if he had been all right the first time, the second time I thought he's got to be, that's it.
It was just total shock. And from my memory, there was a silence. How ironic and how terrible that we, as rescuers, attempted to rescue this animal, and then we killed it.
Although that was everybody's first thought, they knew they would still have to get Jaffa out, whatever state he was now in.
That's good. All right, Stu?
Yeah. I was lowered back down the bottom of the shaft, and it didn't look very good at that stage. The horse was actually on its side, and it looked like it was in a bit of pain. By the time I got myself down onto the ground, it basically sort of shook itself and jumped up onto all fours again.
Right,
By now, a local news team had arrived and captured these remarkable pictures.
More on the horse, less on...
As far as I was concerned, he was going to come up and he would be fatally injured and we would have to put him down.
But you've got to shut that way, Stu. Keep it going, keep it going!
It was awful. I was just thinking, this horse has gone through so much.
Come on! He'll take it out, he'll take it out. Steady, steady, Jaffa.
And now it's got to go through this.
Steady, Jaffa.
And probably be shot at the end of it.
Finally, after 30 hours in darkness, having survived a 100-foot fall twice, Jaffa was free.
Let's get it back out the way. Hang up. Get it back out the way.
But now was the moment of truth. If he couldn't walk, there was little chance he could be saved.
Yeah, she's all right. You can stand.
I just couldn't believe it. The fact that he got up and I didn't have to sort of get the vet out and shoot him or whatever was marvellous.
Incredibly, Jaffa had suffered no broken bones, no internal injuries, and beyond a few cuts and bruises, his major concern was hunger.
I mean, I really was in shock. I don't think I felt very much after that. Just couldn't believe that this had happened to us.
2 years on, Jaffa shows no signs of his ordeal and revels in his status as a local celebrity.
He's famous, isn't he? He's the pit pony of Port Kellis.